I've been speaking publicly probably close to 20 years now. And I wish that I could be better at finding the right words to conveying certain principles and messages. I see that very often, despite my best efforts, the message, at least the way that it is intended to come out, doesn't arrive. Lately, I've been criticized heavily and attacked, which is totally fine. That's part of it, and I don't lose any sleep over it. But particularly, I've been criticized and attacked, or we have been, because of our not just skepticism, but because of reporting on what is actually transpiring, what alliances are happening in the world, and what is unfolding without much resistance. And people criticize me because they say, finally we got change. Finally we got someone in power who's going to do the right things and fix things and bring the right people in. And why don't you just wait and see and get on the train and just give them a chance? Well, when you've been studying the system for as long as we have, then you realize a few things that are not visible or obvious to those who haven't. Understanding that the governments, the way that we see them in the world today, they were not a development of the people. They were not random things that happened or improvements in the structure. The governments, the way we see them today, which are the next step from monarchies and open autocrats, right? We have moved from those structures to what people today call democracies, which they think is the participation of the people in their governments. And the very structure that they are defending, or the systems that they're wanting to keep alive, are the very systems who were put in place to usher in the ultimate agenda, which is a centralized, AI-controlled world government, and a restructuring of this entire construct that we're in, including our own biology, and a control system which will be pretty much unbreakable. Now, that's why these structures were created in the first place, because the entities who've been plotting this have been working on this for hundreds and thousands of years even. So when you think, oh, the left is so bad, oh, the right is so bad, all of these streams, political parties, left, right, they were created to forward this agenda. And for 10 years, the left does it better, and the next 10 years, the right does it. And meanwhile, the people are being put in those boxes so they can keep fighting over comparatively petty issues and never really look at the big picture. That has not fundamentally changed. I agree that there is an awakening happening, but just like everything, when something happens that initially is hard to control, what these entities do really well is they create streams, they create influencers, they create parties, they create movements, they create groups to bring those critical voices, those rebels, those awakeners into a certain stream. Within that stream, they provide them with enough information. It's very interesting, it's inspiring even, it's enlightening, it's all of those things. And they throw in some truths, sure, but they still lead people on the path of deception. Here's the thing. If you are walking a journey of 1,000 miles, 1 degree off doesn't seem like much while you're walking the first half mile, but once you're closer to your destination, you're going to be somewhere completely different if you're only 1 degree off your destination. And if that destination is truth and you're 1 degree off, you're going to land somewhere completely different. So we have the new president is sort of the old president now, right? And President Trump, and a team that is to a large degree highly questionable, that in the background is connected to the same power structures, the same massive corporations, the same influencers in the money sphere as always. The big agendas have not changed. Yes, they're being rebranded. They're being rebranded from globalism to patriotism. They're being rebranded from interconnectedness to America first, but that's just a rebranding. The AI, the digital revolution, the control grid, all of this is still being pushed and still being advanced now at a much faster rate because the opposition was literally pacified. You have people that were on the complete other side of the spectrum just a few short years ago, like Elon Musk. Look at Vivek Ramaswamy's past. Look at what he's invested in. Look at his business partners. You have people that were diehard liberals or Democrats all their lives all of a sudden joined the team. And then you look at the team, you go, interesting. So all of these people just randomly changed their minds. Could that be the truth? And then you have a complete misunderstanding of the world of politics and how this system operates. And let's just take the most illustrious figure of the last 10 years, Donald Trump, right? A go-getter, a highly successful man who's had, everything from started out good, built something big, lost it all, built it up again, or was helped to build it up again, and who helped him. You got to look into that too. But let's just assume that a lot of the things that he said in the very beginning, he meant. Let's just assume that that's where his heart's at. For those of you who've never been in a political structure, if you come into that world jaded, cynical, and, sort of corrupt, that's the best possible way to be if you want to be in politics. If you go into politics as someone who's authentic, who has real goals, or even wants to help the people, you are not just the enemy. You are met with a fire and fury you can't possibly imagine. This is the cesspool. This is the worst of the worst. This is where the bottom feeders go. This is where the scum of the earth goes. These are the most horrible, psychopathic people that you could possibly imagine. That's who inhabits the sphere of politics, especially in the background, the people that you don't see as much. Yes, in the forefront too, but in the background even more. So now I'm asking you, 10 years in, do you know how many times they tried to kill the man? Do you know how many threats? I can tell you one thing. Between the first election in 2016 and his inauguration in January of 2017, there were, and this I can confirm, this I have firsthand reports from the Secret Service team, his team. There were more than 23 legitimate attempts on his life in those few short months. 23. Can you imagine what has happened since? Can you imagine the threats against his family, his children, his grandchildren? Can you imagine that all the time? Because even if he's part of one club, there's another club who wants to fight him. There's another club who wants to kill him. So, do you think that at some point you make a deal? Do you think that at some point, even if your heart's in the best possible place, that you make some sort of arrangement, some sort of agreement? And that is the world of politics. If you don't make any agreements, you don't get anywhere. Why am I sharing this with you? Because people still put faith and hope in this system and this structure that was created to enslave them, that was created to keep them under control, that was created to give them the illusion of participation. This big structure was created for that purpose. So, you can't call me a nihilist, or you can call me a black pillar. But I'm the opposite of that. What I'm saying is, as long as people think that this tiny structure on top will change the big structure down below, which is the people, which is life as we know it, our families, our hopes, our dreams, our everything, our livelihoods, those people, those entities on top will laugh. They will laugh at us. And they will give us more of what we need to keep believing that. The change that we all feel is possible, that we know in our hearts needs to happen, can only happen from within us. We as a collective, even if only at a critical mass, we as a collective need to change. We need to be that freaking change. And that thing on top will not only change by default, but it will sink into its rightful position underneath us. A government can never be above us. Not if it's proper. And then it wouldn't even be called a government any longer. There would be another name. But then it would serve us just as it was intended to be by the people, not by the structure, by the people. And so as long as we keep that hope and change, Obama's going to bring hope and change, right? And then Obama was the big disappointment, let millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people down, went into wars, did what everyone else did before him, just had a better PR team. And then the next guy comes, oh, hope and change, we're going to change it all. And the people wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And that's been the message for so long, that as long as we give away our power to some people we've never met that tell us what we want to hear and then turn around and do what they want to do, things will not change. But more importantly, our lives, our story, our creative power, all of those things will not fundamentally change. If this was the year 2000, I probably would chill out and sit back and be a little more relaxed. But this is the year 2025. Their agenda is so far along. Their infrastructure is in place. The stuff that we've been warning against 15, 20 years ago, it's in place. It's all here. The grid is here. The grid is here. The 5G satellites, 6G satellites, 7G satellites, the smart meters, the complete digital control grid, it's all here. So we're a few short years at the most away from an almost unbreakable control structure. And people are hypnotized, toxified, and complacent by continually putting their faith and hope and dreams in some other person. And what we've been saying, and I wish I had the right words. I truly wish I could find better words. And I totally take responsibility for that I don't. I wish that people could see that the solution is staring them back in the eye from the mirror every single day. It's always been that way. It's always been that way. We don't need the Trumps, the RFKs, the Elon Musks to go and say, we're going to save the world, we're going to fix things. When has that ever worked? And when has that ever had an impact on you personally? Can Bobby Kennedy Jr. go and heal your traumas? Can he go and heal your heart and your relationships? Can he go and ignite within you the knowing and the understanding that you are what you've been waiting for, and that you apply yourself to the fullest of your abilities? Can he go and create the best possible version of you? Or Trump or anyone else? They can't. I mean, even if they were the best people in the world, even if they had the purest heart, even if they were at the highest consciousness possible, even if all those things were true, they still couldn't do it. Because it's impossible. No one else can change you but you. Yes, with the power of the Prime Creator, sure, but still you, free will. It's always been you, folks. And this message, people don't want to hear. They fight. Everyone who's bringing this message, they fight tooth and nail. And I don't want to compare myself to anyone who's presently living or who's lived before. But anyone who's bringing that message is hated. People that openly share the truth are generally hated. Because we, as human beings, much rather hear a comfortable lie than an uncomfortable truth. And so, whatever happens, I'm sure there will be some good things that will happen. Sure, it's always like that. But please know that from everything that we've seen, that we've heard, from the horse's mouth, from the people themselves, they're going to further this agenda, rebranded, renamed, under a different slogan, but nonetheless, And all we can, or what we can actually do is say no when we mean no, and yes when you mean yes, when we mean yes. There's nothing that can be done to us if we don't give that power to someone else, if we don't comply with it, and if we say no, it's game over. It's game over. Are you willing to risk your avatar, your physical body for that? I hope you are. It's just a body. It's just an avatar. It's not you. It's a temporary form of existence. It's not who you really are anyways. So yeah, we're going to continue to share the truth as we see it to the best of our abilities. And I'm not going to give in to any pressure. I'm not going to give in to anyone who tells me I need to get on board, I need to jump on a train.
Or otherwise you unsubscribe.
Yeah, or otherwise you unsubscribe. Well, then go unsubscribe. If you think that we're in this work for popularity, for self-importance, there are a million things that are much easier for self-importance and popularity. I used to have a record deal. I was touring. I was up on stage every night. Why do you think I stepped away from that to a large degree, doing what I do now? Doing what we do every day. Again, it's not because of me or because of what, I have the truth. It's because that's what my calling, that's what our calling is. Whether it's comfortable or not does not really matter, because it mostly isn't. But here's my last message for today. I put no faith in the world of politics. I put no faith in strangers that tell people what they want to hear. But I have a knowing inside of me that there are many, many awakened, wonderful, co-creative spirits all over the place. And all they need to do is apply themselves. All they need to do is be who they are. That's what I have faith in. That's what I have a knowing for. And we are the ones who can turn this ship around. But we got to do it. Ain't nobody going to do it for us. Thank you for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.